Hi, it's Chris Titley here, and on today's episode of Scoreboard the podcast, I'm joined by Emily Howkins in person in Brisbane on what is a beautiful day, 2nd of June, a little bit overcast, I suppose. Emily, welcome to Brisbane.
Hey, thanks.
Emily, you're not from Brisbane. You came to Brisbane this morning. Tell us about your day so far.
Yeah, we actually come from Warwick this morning. Went to a practice bronc riding day there. And yeah, this morning we come across to be here on the podcast.
And this is a little bit of a milestone moment for you, your first ever podcast.
Yeah, first one.
How are you feeling?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, a little bit nervous, but
you'll be fine. You'll be fine, right? And do you listen to podcasts?
Yeah, I do actually.
What's your favourite podcast?
At the moment, this one.
Which episodes? Come on, I'm testing you.
My favourite one, I like Cal Brunton's one.
Yep.
I love his confidence. And
yes, yep.
I resonate a lot with what he has to say.
The attitude is altitude.
Yeah, the attitude. I love it.
Yeah. Put your swag in the bag, Cal. Yeah. No, he was great. It was a bit of an interesting podcast, that one, because I grew up watching Cal on TV, and he was always beating the Brisbane Bullets, playing for the Perth Wildcats, and I just sort of half didn't like him. But then knowing such a legend he was, and at the game at the time, and what he's done for Australian basketball, it was great to actually finally meet him in person, as is you, right? And thanks for coming in all the way. Now, Emily Howkins, not an overall household name globally, but maybe in the future. What's your sport? Tell us about it.
Well, I'm a women's ranch bronc rider. It's traditionally American sport, but we're trying to bring it to Australia so we can have more women get involved and get to the main finals is in America, and we get to have a team over there.
Ranch bronc riding, that's the profession, that's the sport compared to what some might think of bull riding, right?
Yeah, so in Australia there's a few different rodeo events with the rough stock. There's bull riding, what you see with the PBR. We have saddle bronc that you see Damien Brennan and most men ride at every rodeo. Bareback, which is a wild ride with a rigging strapped to a horse like a suitcase handle. But yes, and then we also have ladies ranch bronc ride, which in America it's not ladies, it's men and women, but in Australia it's more for the women. Yeah. Excellent.
And so ranch bronc riding, and fabulous to get you're my first ever ranch bronc riding professional coming on here. Where did it come from, and when did you kind of realise that there's a sport here, and actually I'm interested?
Well, the sport, how it started for me is a friend of mine. I met her one New Year's, and we got to chatting, and she said, I'd really like to try bronc riding. And I said, I've been to a couple of schools, saddle bronc schools, and she's like, really? Like we should do that. And so got her the contact with Ken Reid and Gatton, and after a few goes of that, we were talking. We both reckoned we liked this TV show that was in America. It was called Cowgirls, and it was just women riding ranch broncs and starting out and following a tour with them on it. And we thought that'd be such a good idea. Well, actually, when I started seeing it for the first time, I thought, two-handed bronc riding, just that looks crazy, like that's not for me. But she really wanted to give it a try, and I thought, let's do it. And we organised a practice day, and we bring the Western saddles and rode in them, and and it would just come a little bit naturally. And I thought, this is what I want to do. And she actually contacted the guy that ran that TV show, or ran the association that the TV show was following, and instead of getting a reply like, whenever you're in America, come and see us, they said, like you're in Australia, like we should add you guys to our world finals, like let's get this happening. That's kind of the birth of ranch bronc in Australia.
Right. So you're not only part of the sport that is sort of an existing sport globally, but now you're bringing, as you said, you're bringing it to Australia as a recognised sport, or adding Australia into a world champ. That must make you feel pretty proud.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it, and it definitely gives you somewhere to go. Like when you ride with the boys in saddle bronc, and that's fine, but they welcome you and accept you, but you're not one of the boys, and it's really hard to win one of them events as a female rider. It's probably not impossible, but it's definitely hard. You got to work a lot harder. It's nice to have your own division and your own little thing to go chase together and travel together. Like all the girls, we just seem to have the best time on our little rodeo trips together.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And in terms of like getting it a brand awareness and getting it out there in Australia, how's it been? What's been the hurdles and what's been
it's been steady.
Yeah.
I guess at the start, a lot of people were questioning, like, why the hell do these girls want to ride broncs, and wondering if we were, what was our motives behind wanting to ride. I guess there was a lot of that, and thinking like very traditional, like, oh, girls don't ride bucking horses, and I guess you just have to prove a little bit that you do want to be there and you deserve to be there, and you're not being silly and not taking it seriously. Like it is a serious sport, and you could get hurt, and we all know that now.
Yeah, no, for sure, and we'll touch on that in a second. But I'm just trying to think in my brain about newer sports that people sort of started off with a little bit of silliness, and one of them that really comes to mind was 2020 in cricket, whereby the first few games was like, oh, it's just a muck around game and muck around, etc. And you look fast forward like 20 years, like it's big, huge business now, and people have taken it seriously and whatnot, and little things like paddleball and pickleball are arising as well. So you're kind of competing with that. But now knowing that there's world championships, there's events, there's organised events, it must feel good that there's good participation, or hopefully steady participation in the sport.
Yeah, it's starting to grow. It's getting a lot of interest, a lot of traction, and there are a lot more rodeo committees wanting to add it to their programs, and so it's really exciting for us. It's now we have a few hurdles with insurances and getting into different rodeos and bigger rodeos, but we're working on those.
What's the ultimate skill, or I suppose mental skills and physical skills to be a good bronc rider?
I guess mental toughness is probably a huge one that will get you further than anything. But that is also something you can train, and I guess being physically fit and strong, especially as a female, like you have a lot more to work on to get to riding fitness.
Yeah, and what sort of, like for you, like the training program, and give the listeners a bit of an insight into behind the scenes what a training program looks like?
For me, it's a mixture of strength and cardio, more like CrossFit style functional training, a lot of mobility, and a lot of time on the spurboard with drills and skills, just working on little things. Muscle memory and visualization's a huge one. You got to picture the perfect ride, and almost by the time I get onto a horse, I'm over it. I've already thought about it so much that I've rode it a million times over that I'm kind of bored with it by the time I actually get there.
Yeah, and the scoring and the winning, and how does that all work?
Scoring is 2 judges, and it's out of 100 points all up. So 2 judges score 25 points each to the rider and the horse.
Right, so there's a bit of
out of 50.
And when it comes to the horse, do you work with a particular horse, or do you kind of just get randomly allocated?
No, it's just a draw, random allocation. Like you put your name in for the entries, and they'll just draw a horse out of a hat, or however they do it.
Yep.
You find out on the day, or sometimes it's a chute draw. They give you a chute number, you stand there, and whatever horse runs in, that's what your partner.
Yep.
For the ride.
And is there such thing as a perfect 100?
Not yet.
No. Is it a unicorn? Does it exist? Like in terms, it doesn't exist?
No.
So what do you aim for when you go out and you're visualizing 1,000 times before you come on to your thing? What are you aiming for? What sort of score you're aiming for?
Yeah, you're aiming for 100. You're right. Well, they call it B90. 90
B90.
Points,
okay.
Right.
Yeah. And have you won with 90 before?
I think the closest I've got to 88.
Okay, and 88 was the win?
Yeah, 88 was the win.
Yeah, right. Okay. And so what do they judge the horse on?
The horse, they judge like how hard he bucks, obviously. If he's got a good pattern, if he's a big strong horse and holds his pattern and for the duration of the 8 seconds. And
how long does 8 seconds feel like?
Feels like 20.
Does it? Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you like go back and like you could probably. I used to be like a quasi amateur sprinter, and I remember it was sort of like 10 or 11 seconds probably in 100 meters, but it felt like you're preparing so long for this kind of race, and then it's over, and you're like, but you could sort of visualize everything and tell a story about 8 seconds or 10 seconds, not running, but 11 seconds in running, going like I could write a novel on that. In that,
it's like when you first start out, that 8 seconds is just a blur. Like,
and then I get out, and then the competitor here, and this and that, and then I go forward, then they go, and then they went ahead, and and you're like, wow, that was only 11 seconds or whatever it might be, right?
Yeah,
and you can do that.
So right.
Yep. And do you remember? Do you have your favorite type of when you got that 80? What was it? 88? Your high school.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I remember that.
Go on, give us a bit of a commentary on
that. That ride, even just the lead up to that ride, there was a chute draw, and there was a heap of horses there, and there was an Appaloosa horse everyone wanted, and we were all like, oh, my friend already sort of had dibs on that one, so I sort of said, oh, what's this one here? And they said, oh, she bucks good. And I just thought, oh, well, you want the horse that bucks the best, but this was early days, and we thought, like, maybe you don't want the one that bucks real good. But anyway, I just put my stuff there and got ready, and and it bucked out, and it just she was pretty rank. And it sort of come out, and I just remember like, oh, well, I haven't fallen off yet. And she circled around a little bit, and it felt like the longest time ever that I was on this horse's back. The pickup man's coming in, and I'm just thinking like, get me out of here. But the horse was spinning, so it was very hard for the horse to pick up man to come in close enough to get me off. And she finally straightened up a little bit, and he come in, and I got off. And there
you go. There's a lot more of an 8 seconds commentary there. It was awesome. And Emily, before this podcast, we talked about injuries. You've gone through one yourself.
Myself, I slipped a disc in my back, and I think that was more from my job as an operator in a dozer all day, sitting sort of perched up there and putting pressure on my back. And
there must be a lot of muscles that you don't realise that exist in your body when you're doing bronc ride training that you have to kind of train, as you said, in muscle memory.
Yeah, I think the one muscle I find, if I fall off pretty quickly, I'm not very sore. Like, I'm jarred off from hitting the ground, but if you cover 8 seconds, my forearms are the sorest they've ever been.
And you get what's it called, the delayed onset thing, like the day later.
2 days later, and you're like, can't open your hands.
Oh yeah, like, can you open this bottle of milk for me?
No.
And you speak of the disc in the back, very painful. Did you end up having back spasms?
Yeah, I did actually. I had back spasms. Trying to sleep was the worst. Couldn't get comfortable any direction, and even just like you'd sit down for a while and you have to stand back up, and it was so hard to get back up.
I had it late last year, which is horrible for your 43-year-old with no core muscle. But you have to put your elbows down on to get up a lot. I found on the bed, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but
the weird tuck and roll to get out.
The weird tuck and roll to get out, and then they call it the socks and jocks. Putting your socks and jocks on, you end up having like more spasms or more kind of like painful lightning through your back. And I'm sure there's people out there that have gone through the back spasms, but it's not just the however long, 24, 48 hours that you have this. It's like the muscles get shaken up for so long, and that sort of feel like an arthritis-y pain.
It took a long time. It was my hip mainly. My hip and leg were just in pain all day, and I just was like, this is horrible. I went through finals with that. I took as many painkillers as I could to get through that, and the road probably didn't ride my best because I wasn't very fit and I couldn't train because my leg was giving me trouble, and anyway, I did what I could, and afterwards I took, I think, maybe 8 months off.
8 months?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's serious, in terms of the ongoing pain management.
It just wouldn't stop, and there was nothing. I was going to physio, massage, nearly getting an exorcism just to try get something to happen, and doctors were like, oh, you don't need surgery yet.
Wow. And then, so you talked about championships there, and you talked about the relationship with the world championships. Did you want to talk about your progress, I suppose, a couple of years ago to get into the world championships in 23 and then also to 24?
Yeah. Well, I actually qualified before COVID, and COVID stopped 1 year, stopped 2020. 2021, I think it was still it was still stopped and we couldn't get much done there. And then 2022, I could go, but I didn't want to get a COVID jab.
Yes, yep.
I was
various travel restrictions and things like that. Yep.
I just didn't want that. And so I couldn't travel without it. And so 2023, I'd re-qualified. We had another year, and that was probably our biggest year for women's ranch bronc.
Coming out the back of all the COVID things.
Coming out of COVID and just getting it off the ground here. And we went from 2 events a year to 12 that year, I think. Yeah.
In Australia?
Yeah.
Right. And was it a state-by-state thing, or was it more like a national event 10 times a year?
It was more Queensland, because most of our riders at the time were based in Queensland, and our connections and contacts with rodeos in the area were around here. And,
Yeah, right. Okay. And so then is there a qualifying thing to get to the world?
So we collected, out of all those rodeos for the year, every win scored you points. So you accumulated the points for the year, and then the top 2 at that stage, top 2 got to go to America.
Yeah, right. Okay. And Emily, to run an event obviously costs money, and there's horses and broncs involved, and there's events, like in terms of a space and officials and things like that. Like, are you part of that as well? Like, you driving all that, or are there associations that are going, okay, we'll host one?
Yeah, we do it a little bit different. We you've got to obviously find a sponsor for the prize money, but we find rodeos in the area that have the right insurance that will let us ride, and sort of pitch them that this is our event, this is who we are, this is what we're working towards, obviously collecting points for America, and get into their rodeos. And usually it's a stock contractor that owns the horses that sort of support us as well. And we end up in their rodeos, and the money side's just the sponsorship.
And on that sponsorship, I mean, how important is it? Have you had some good sponsors along the way, and people that have really kind of went, right, I'm part of this, I'm happy to be a part of that?
We've had some really good ones along the way, just like for the prize money of the events, which is always grateful for that.
Yep. And in terms of like, are they local businesses, or are they kind of like national brands? Or
usually just local businesses.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, well, while we're here and hopefully get a growing audience, plug out there for some national brands maybe.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. And your trip to America, you talked about that and that's where that initial discussion came from. Was that right? Adding Australia as part of it?
Yeah. We got got our spot in the invited to the world finals, and now we just had to get girls ready and qualify, which was really exciting. I think this year we had 20 girls competing. 20? Yeah, this season.
That's awesome. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think it was great. I think it's really good to see it growing, and there's a lot more trying to come along. But the 2023, I think there was 10 of us. 10, and then it's grown.
And where are the championships? And when are they in the US?
At Cheyenne Frontier Days in Wyoming in end of July.
Yeah, okay. And you've been over a couple of times. You want to describe the whole event from start to finish?
It is surreal. It's one of the highlights of my life, getting to go ride there, because I always felt if you went down the path of a saddle bronc rider, you as a female, you probably will never make it to any big stages like that. Like, it'd be a once in a million chance of females getting that far in saddle bronc, but in the ranch bronc, it's an amazing experience to be able to ride on a big stage like that in your own sport.
Yeah, so it's like a pinch myself moment combined with a bit of nervousness.
Yeah, it was strange. It was one of those times I wasn't nervous, because I just thought, well, is what it is, and I'm here, and I just want to give it all I got. So it was actually really good. The crowd, the amount of people there is like the most I've ever seen in a stadium. I'm pretty sure it's like 30,000.
30,000?
It's probably even more.
That's
I
unbelievable.
might have those numbers wrong. But
yeah, but I mean, like the actual noise, the level of the atmosphere.
And just the people that you're getting ready with in the birdcage is there's like the best of the best cowboys in the world under there getting ready, and you're just there ready next to them. It's pretty amazing.
And in terms of the contingent that went over, how many Australian girls went over in 23 and 24?
23, there was 2 of us, and 24, they added 3 of us.
Right. And how many girls are there that compete in the overall World Championships?
I think they fill the chutes. I think there's 10.
10, okay. And then you've got your, out of 100, and you've got, like, it can't be just one, what do you call it, bronc ride. How many are there that you get to do in the World Champs?
It's for the World Finals. It's 2 days.
2 days. Yep.
Worth,
Yep. Okay. Yep. And then in 23, you want to talk about your experience, and then leading into 24.
Yeah, 23. I'd like to say 23 was probably my warm up year.
Yep.
Yeah. So 23 was the first year we had like a fair amount of rodeos in Australia, and got to
go over there and yeah.
23 was a good year. We got to go over, and it was our first, my first year over. The 2 other girls went the year before when I couldn't go with COVID.
Yep.
23 was my first year, and it was I loved it over there. It was a big eye opener.
Yep. And came back in 24 again. Wanted to experience it again.
The first year I drew a softer horse for the first round, and he sort of run off with me, and I got a re-ride, and my re-ride horse was meant to be in the shootout, the end of the Saddle Bronc shootout, which is a bit more hectic, and one of the shootout horses jumped into the racetrack. And so they got me to sit on my horse and just wait there. And I think hindsight, I should have just got off this horse and kept myself active.
Yep.
And I'm just sitting there for maybe 2 minutes. I just got really loose and lost my sort of fire. And they sort of called for me to go a few times. So I nodded my head every time. They were like, oh, you got to hurry up. And there was a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. And and by the time I come out of this chute, I was just so loose and just the horse threw me.
Yeah, right. There's all different types of emotions that you feel when you jump on, and obviously, sometimes out of your control and sometimes in your control, I'd imagine.
Yeah, they sort of push like, oh, girls, hurry up, don't be slow. Girls need to hurry up, and none of us stopped moving. Like, we're all there still working, and they're like, hurry up, you need to hurry up. And I'm like, do they do this to the men too, or just us because we're girls? Yeah. And anyway, like even one of the second day's horse that I got, my saddle was like slipped back a little bit, and they're like rushing us, and I wanted to change it, and I was like, you got to go, you got to pull your saddle down, and I just thought, stuff it, just pull it tight, let's go.
Yeah, and so it was obviously the whole event is something which is memorable, and the networking and also like the ability to kind of share common interests is pretty cool, right?
Yeah. Some of you meet girls from all over the world, like the 2023 finals. I travelled with a girl from Belgium. They had a European team there, so it was really cool to meet her. And then we travelled to a few different towns along the way and met Rod Hay. That was a NFR world champion for the Saddle Bronc in the day, and he was teaching a school. We met other cowboys from all over the place. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, awesome. And you got the bargain going, right, 23 wasn't the best year personally from the actual competition point of view, but let's go again in 24. Do you want to talk about 24 then?
24 I think was like the year, my running and gunning year. 24 I'd won Australian champion here at home. It was the first year we had a recognised title. So that was pretty special for me. And then made world finals. And world finals, even though I had this back injury, I still ended up 4th in the world.
That's amazing.
Cool.
How does it feel when you say that now?
Yeah, I wish it was world champion. But anyway, it's still pretty awesome to be able to say that I got that achievement in my sport.
And what was the results like? Were they pretty close? Was there one person there that a girl was like?
Pretty close. Yeah, they were all. It would have been hard to be a judge. I can say, judging
and
between
you landed with 4th in the world. So
Yeah.
of all the people in the world that do your sport, you're 4th. That's and I'm assume there's a lot of competitiveness in you and a lot of
I was competitive from day one.
but then obviously the goal is to be the number 1 in the world. And as a goal, are you a goal setter?
Yeah, I think myself, if I'm doing something, I don't want to do it just for fun. Like if I try a sport and I like it, I want to be the best.
And what makes you become the best in the world in what you do? What do you reckon? Is it a lot of mental training, a lot of physical training?
Yeah, I think preparation and leaving no stone unturned to try work out how to get to what you want.
Yeah, and have you worked that out yet? Like, are you on the path at the moment?
I think I am. Yeah, it's just sometimes it takes a little bit of luck to put it all together.
And a little bit of support as well and storytelling as well. I mean, thanks for coming on and being your first podcast. But like in terms of social media and getting buy-in and getting a support crew, that's important.
Yeah, it's definitely networking is a huge thing for us, and especially I've found the hurdles of trying to promote our sport and get it taken seriously and getting those opportunities. And it's almost now like you have a little bit of you've had some achievements and you can build your personal brand to make that work as a whole for your sport.
The rising tide lifts all boats. Now, you've got an Instagram handle, Girl on a Bronc.
Girl on a Bronc.
How have you found, and follow that please, by the way, listeners out there, how have you found Instagram and the social media style of like, actually, I have to be a bit more transparent. I have to be a little bit more open.
Bit more present.
A little more present,
I feel like everything I post very genuine to me, and a lot of people say that. They're like, oh, it's exactly you. And I've always wanted it that way. But yeah, at the start we were very, I'm not posting anything on there. While people put all this stuff on social media, and I think over the years I've learnt that it is now more of a business, and that you do use it for those reasons and not just for the sake of putting it on there.
And then you've got a personal goal, which is to be number 1 in the world, but then as a sport here in Australia, what would be a goal there? What would be a big, hairy, audacious goal?
A lot of our goals here are just getting into bigger events and building our sport here. Like a huge goal for me would be work our insurances out to be able to compete at any rodeos that wish to have us in their program, which include like pro rodeos here. We've come across a couple of hurdles there and working on it, but that'll definitely be one of the big goals.
And to get that goal over the line, you need an insurance company that's flexible and in terms of like, understanding the sport.
A few things. What had happened was depending on insurance companies that back those associations, there's one that they will only cover what's in the constitution of the association, and hasn't really got to the point where we've got it into the constitution or got it to there. There's a lot more.
So there's more progress to be made in the sport.
There's a lot more progress to be made.
But it's hard to kind of chicken and the egg. You kind of can't grow
the paperwork side of things, and then sometimes you don't want to push that until we have more numbers and more competitors to sort of make it worth its while. But it's definitely conversations we've been having lately.
Yeah, awesome. And then obviously there's location based as well and rodeos, etc. And how many rodeos in Australia would there be every year?
Rodeos all up.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't tell you. There'd be a lot. There'd be a lot. There's probably 10 associations that run circuits through the year.
Yep.
So there'd be plenty.
And then in terms of your love of sport and where you came to get involved in the sport, what would you suggest to people that are interested, or young girls that are interested in the sport? Where do they begin?
For anyone really that wants to get into rodeo, it'd be like finding them contacts, going to find a school. Like there's a lot of rodeo schools around, networking with like other cowboys that you might know, or where you've seen it, you could go to your local rodeo committee and ask, like, do they know anyone to point you in the right direction? It's just go for it. But I know some people that have just lobbed up and entered a rodeo.
Yeah. And what does like ranch bronc riding teach you in life, you think?
Ranch bronc riding's definitely helped with my confidence and like sort of inspired me. It's definitely built me into a more stronger, tougher person and a lot more firm with who I am.
And you're competitive, right? There's a trait I can see and sense just talking to you in person. What other traits do you think that you've got which make you, fourth in the world and hopefully become best in the world? This is a tricky question, I know, because it's your first podcast. You probably don't like talking about yourself.
Just like, I don't
know.
So
what makes you strong? What do you think you've got that others don't?
I feel like I can't say others don't have it, but it's I see a lot of the good competitors have these traits, and I see a lot of people that have these traits that probably haven't worked it out that they have them yet. I always thought just having a lot of resilience, and there's one common thing I see a lot with a lot of the girls I'm friends with that I ride. We all come from a similar sort of backstory. Is we kind of we didn't fit in with the girly girls, and there was nothing wrong with them or wrong with that, but that wasn't our tribe and our crowd, and we sort of felt like, they're talking about hair products and we're talking about something else. We're talking about cars or something.
You got to find your tribe,
a bit
right?
rougher, and they're just kind of looking at us like we're an alien. And I was always like, well, you don't like me, I don't like you either. Like I got bigger fish to fry. And then when I did meet this through this sport, when I did meet these girls that all have this rougher sort of lifestyle, we all just clicked, and now it's almost funny. It's come full circle. We were the tomboy kind of girls that didn't dress up, that didn't. So, and now we have our own girl tribe, and all of us are like dressing up and like getting more like feminine. It's like, this is crazy.
The full circle. But, sports find that. Like I just, through my interviewing of sports people and people involved in sport, finding your tribe, finding your crew, it's an out. It's something which, it's a sense of belonging, right? And that's hard in life, right? And I think, and sharing common interests. And that's why kids play sport and win, lose or draw, is sharing a common interest and sharing something that you can talk about to someone as well, because a lot of people, again, as you mentioned, was like, I'm not going to talk about this. It's pretty boring. I'd much rather talk about that. And all of a sudden you put in a room where people talk about it, you're like, this is cool. I can keep talking and keep learning from people. Have you come across people in your crew or your tribe that have been a bit sort of like, really close friends, but also been a little bit of like, I suppose idols or something which you kind of, learn from them?
So on my journey of trying to find advice on how to ride Ranch Bronc, because obviously when I started in Australia, there wasn't any other one in Australia to learn from. You could definitely learn a lot of great mentors and friends that were saddle bronc riders and offered so much advice there. But my real family that I think are my closest people are when I reached out to, I sort of scanned Facebook and found like some of the best the world champion ranch bronc riders in America, and I just sent them a quick message, and just through those first couple of messages turned into a great mentorship and friendship, and now these people are some of my best friends and most respected idols that I could ever come across, and they've just welcomed me into the family.
Isn't that cool that you've done the research?
Something I've never had before, someone take you under their wing so seriously, and I think that's probably a credit to what got me to where I am today, is having someone that put that time into me. And I was just a nobody. I was random on the internet from Australia, and when I went over there, actually, I went and stayed with them, and so we're really good friends. I think going to be lifelong friends.
That's amazing, and full credit to you to kind of suss them out, to go, actually, I wouldn't mind. I mean, people are human beings, and people ask me all the time about how I get people on this podcast, and I reach out to them on an email or LinkedIn, and people are people. They're like, yeah, sure.
I think that's great advice to anyone. It's like, if you want to know something, well, what's the worst that could happen if you send this email and be like, hey, like, I think, could you help me with this if you've got time? Like, I'd appreciate that. And what are they going to do? Not write back or say no? Really?
Yeah. And what's that? And that gives you what, like 30 seconds of lost time in your life?
Yeah, like it might get you something that you really need and want to. Like, I think my life motto is find out what it is that you want work out what it is that you really want and then find a way to get it.
It's a tough one to work out what you really want. I've battled with that myself a lot of the times. Like, what's Nirvana look like? What is it unachievable? Is it like, and I've had people talk about their stretch goals, their normal goals, just like all these sort of things like, I never hit my stretch goal, but I get to half a stretch goal, but I also hit, my short-term goal. Do you sit down every year and do your goals?
Oh, I do it all the time. I'm one of them. I'm an overthinker. Everyone says you need to stop overthinking, but I think it's my superpower because I think through every single small piece of everything and overthink everything till I've got a very clear path of where I want to go, what I need to do.
And the connection between your goals and your daily habits, so you can connect the two going, actually, in my head, I'm doing these reps because I want to.
Yeah, they do.
Is there a connection?
Sometimes they ebb and flow. Obviously, one of them days. But, yeah, most times everything's strategic and getting to where I need to be, especially now with like recovery and rehab and getting myself back to that competitive fitness has been a long road.
Yeah, no, and so when you're in the physio or you're in the gym trying to recover, does the inspiration of your goal keep you going?
Yeah, always, especially those days where you're like, I don't feel like doing anything, and you just got to remember.
And Emily, your goal is to be number one in the world, and everything you do kind of somehow relates back to that big, hairy, audacious goal, which is you're not so hairy and audacious because you've been close and you're fourth in the world. I'm curious to know, do you switch off at all?
I did switch off for a bit, having my time off. I think it is important to have a little bit of downtime away from it because you're always switched on and you're always hyper-focused on it and going so hard that you can get burnt out. And I like to think if you do have an off season, like go spend time doing other hobbies, other things. And I think you come back wanting it twice as much.
That's a good thing. And what do you do to switch off?
Me, I like boxing.
So another sport.
Yeah, it's something I've wanted to get more into. Here's actually a pretty funny story for you. So to keep fit before I went for 2023, there wasn't much practice. There wasn't many rodeos around, and I wanted to be sharp to go to America. I thought this is my first time on these big horses. They're a lot stronger than what we have. I don't know if I'm going to be ready, but I'm going to be fit. And where I started working had a boxing gym. And I was like, well, I should just go here and get a little bit fit. And when I probably was in the gym for about a week and I seen an advertisement for a cowboy boxing match. It was like a charity event on the end of a boxing tournament. And it was like, yep, calling the Cowboys to come fight. And we were like, oh, I seen a couple of friends that I knew had no business being in the ring entering. And I thought, it's one of them deals. Like, let's do this. Like, I'll sign up. And I said to my coach, I was like, do you think I could be ready for this? And he was like, he must have misunderstood me and thought that I said, oh, if I worked hard, could I enter a fight like this? And he said, yeah, if you work really hard, like you can do it. And I thought, yep, sweet, I'm entering this. So I put my name down, signed up for it, and he's seen the advertisement and seen I was in it. And he's like, why would you do this without consulting me? Like, that's not, best of luck to you. Good luck with that. Like, don't come back. And then he sort of got over it. And I said, well, you told me to. Look at the message. And then he was like, oh, I didn't mean that. I didn't read it. And I was just like, okay, well, I've entered now. And he's like, you better train because, like, you're definitely not going to be ready. But he did. He got me ready. He did as much as we could in 5 weeks. And that tournament was actually the night before I was flying to America.
Right. So the scheduling wasn't great.
No, the schedule. But I thought, while I'm in Brisbane, I could do that at Pittsworth and then get on a plane and fly to America because I didn't realise I didn't realise the risks that could have been involved in that. But I was fully confident. I'm like, I got this. And then everyone was like, oh, that girl, that your opponent, she's a really good fighter. And you're going to have a handful there. And then, so I think that pushed me to train a little bit harder. And, so I actually, second round stoppage. And, I won the fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so boxing is a little passion project side hobby for you.
That it is, definitely.
And it's not. It keeps you fit as well, obviously, and keeps you mentally fit as well. And then you flew out to America the next day.
Yep.
Wow, what a whirlwind 24, 48 hours for the week.
Yeah, that was a whirlwind.
It's sort of like, what did you do last week? Well, let me begin with the boxing match.
I think that's how I live my life, though, and a lot of my friends are like, what?
Well, that's awesome. Now, we're going to go into a couple of things with the Scoreboard podcast. One is your Scoreboard Moment, which is a moment in your life which you remember very, very vividly, and you may have already covered it, but if you haven't, that's okay, where it's sort of like, I remember that moment, and then from then things changed.
One of my Scoreboard moments was maybe my first ever bronc ride. It was first ever ranch bronc ride, and it was kind of like the deciding day that, do I like this two-handed style? Is this really for me? Do I want to do this? And we rode, and just happened to draw a really cool little horse that was really fun to ride, and he made you look really cool, and he bucked, and and I stayed on, and I thought, like, nah, I can do this. I'm a little bit good at this. That just pushes you to keep going. We get a little bit good at it. That was probably the ultimate thing that was like set it in motion of chasing ranch bronc riding.
That's awesome, and that's so vivid and clear, that first one, and the memory is almost maybe feels like yesterday.
Yeah.
The other question I ask is the all-time favourite sporting moment, which is a bit of a tricky one when you put on the spot about what is one of those moments where you go, this is what sport's all about. This is awesome.
I've got an all-time favourite sporting moment. It's most recent. There's probably two of them that are very closely. They're close to me and close to my heart with what my sport is, and probably when Kai Hamilton at the NFR in the bull riding, he was really good. He won the world in the bull riding, and then Damo Brennan coming second in the world in the saddle bronc, like two Aussies over there killing it in rodeo sports and rodeo fields. So that's really cool. And then we have us at the women's world final. So yeah,
that's so good.
My favourite sporting moment.
Yeah, and being in sport and knowing them and following, and I think that's half the battle with some of the minority, broadly speaking, sports, is the people, the characters, the storytelling behind it, and you're obviously knowing them, following them, tracking their journey, and people are following you, which is great, and wanting you to prosper and be successful in your story, which I think obviously is what sport's about as well. Now, a little bit of fun. Our last podcast was John O'Flegg from Freshwater Strategy, and what they do is they do a lot of expansion teams and get bids together, and one of their most well-known bids and close to home for Jono was getting the Redcliffe Dolphins into the NRL, and currently with the Perth Bears and other teams that are trying to get into expansion teams and getting stakeholders together. So the Scoreboard Scramble is a little game where we spell a word backwards, and it's related to our previous podcast, so you can download both and listen to see what Jono said with his Scoreboard Scramble. But the word I'm going to ask you to spell backwards, and you've got 20 seconds to do it so you can think about it, is dolphins. So I'm going to ask you to spell the word dolphins, Emily, starting now.
SNIHPLOD.
I reckon you nailed it. I don't have it here, and I'm just hoping that we can always go back and listen to it. But dolphins backwards. I'm not even going to try. I think SNIHPLOD. I reckon that's it. I reckon you got it in 8 seconds or 10 seconds. Now, if you didn't get it, that's okay, because the listeners out there going,
I thought it was going to be way less.
All right. Do you want a harder word, do you?
No.
What about Queensland?
DNALSNEEQ.
I reckon that's it. You're good at this. You can stay here all day. I've got one for you, which I'm going to cheat, right? And I reckon the people out there now, I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. Is it Cheyenne? Is that where the world champs are? Cheyenne. How you going with that one?
Oh no,
you've got it written on your shirt, so I'm going to cheat. So
ENNEEQ. EYEHC.
Yep, you nailed it. We can do this all day. Well done, Emily. You've 3 from 3.
Oh, I could have cheated on the screen.
Oh, did you? Oh, yeah, you did. But you have to look at it backwards. I think that's the reverse on the video. Now, I've got one final question for you. Some piece of advice for girls in sport, and also you've also talked about getting into your sport, but also sport in general. What sport's given you that nothing else has?
Obviously confidence. Definitely given me confidence.
Yep, and then for someone that wants to potentially be as good as you, what's going back the dream of Emily when she was 15? It may not have been this, but what was the dream for you, and what can you tell young girls to dream about now?
I think I've already covered my find out what it is that you want. I think that's the most important step, is find out what your goals are.
Yep. And maybe that could be like playing as many sports as possible, or playing lots of getting out there.
When I was 15, it was being a jockey.
Yep.
And that was my lifetime goal.
Yep.
And it's now somehow ended up as Bronco.
And goals can change, right? And that's the thing. Like, you don't need to be kind
change.
of like, oh my goodness, I have to do this, I have to do that. And then it's like, oh, well, I'm getting further and further away. Why not just reset the goal into something else? And it's a hard thing to do. And I'm not saying it's just easy, but certainly, it's a hard thing from a person to kind of reset their goals, but you've done it, and now you want to be best in the world. And I wish you all the best to be best in the world at your sport. Currently, sort of 2024, 4th in the world. Wish you all the best with your recovery. Emily Howkins, thank you so much for coming in and being part of Scoreboard.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on your first podcast. You did amazing, and I'm looking forward to following your progress, sharing your progress through Scoreboard, the platform as well, and looking forward to following you and keeping in touch.
Yeah, thank you.